So hi, I'm Colin Wright and we're out here at Sapphire. Very much from an industry perspective, I'm part of the worldwide retail and consumer goods teams, and we're here talking about pain points that our industry has. In fact, there's a lot of data that comes in from a lot of different places, but for our consumer goods companies, some of the largest in the world, they need to know where their products are selling in what retail stores, and they need to know that every single day. Some of the challenges that we've had along that journey is getting that data back from the retailers and into their systems. And one of the most, I think, important use cases that our CPG companies go through is how do they combine that data with their SAP data, where they can combine what their products cost with how many have sold. So these are important everyday data problems that these organisations are running their business with. And I'm here today with Andre Fomin, who's a thought leader and heads up a think tank that works with some of these largest companies to really get their most out of the SAP data and their sell-through data that they get from their retailers. So tell us a little bit about Obviance and tell us a little bit about the problems you're seeing these big CPGs are having.
So I head up a think tank called Obviance, and we're helping companies figure out how to use Microsoft Analytics and jumpstart their efforts using cloud and figuring out how to solve business problems using Microsoft.
And so some of the important use cases that the customers have been wanting to do, tell us about promotional effectiveness, and sell-through statistics, trend analysis, the really important things for them to run their business on.
Great. Well, so some of the things that we're doing is, as Colin mentioned, these companies go and source this sell-through data by store, by SKU, by day, and these are very high volumes of data. And now that we have all this raw data, we're trying to figure out, okay, is that strategy with promotion, is it valid or not? In order for us to understand that, we need to take that data and also match it with SAP data. So we need to understand what are the margins, what does the customer look like, what's selling, what's not selling. So we're able to take some of the COPA data, some of the orders data, combine it with promotions data, combine it with consumption data, mash it all together. You're looking at millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of records. And we're able to trend this and understand by SKU, by store, by geography, what's selling and what's not selling, and which promotions are effective, which ones are not.
And of course, the reason we can start to do all this now is with the scalability of the cloud. I mean, we're seeing a transformation of SAP into the cloud, but we have to also transform those analytical workloads, those reports, the business intelligence for the customers. What sort of improvements have you seen from being able to get that into a data lake in the cloud and really scale out those reports?
Well, there are several things. Number one is ability. So some of the customers have only been able to look at things on a consolidated level. So they've never been able to look at things by store, by day, by state even. They were only looking at the entire book of business. So now they're able to match that data with demographics, match that data with individual geographies, and get that fine level of grain level of control. So if something is selling in inner cities and may not be selling in suburban areas, so they're trying to understand, okay, instead of having one strategy that works they're trying to make it work for any kind of customer, now they're segmenting it for specific demographics.
So this is a real step forward in customer personalization, and we know that all of our customers, whether they're in the retail area or they're in the consumer goods area and selling to retailers, they want to personalize things for their customers, and that's where we see the future going. So thanks very much.